I'm Chad. You're watching Squarebody Stuff. Hey, welcome back to the Squarebody Stuff garage, shop, show, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be working on an SM465 4-speed granny low transmission. Now, for those of you not familiar, that's what I'm running in my race truck. Now, for those of you who might say, I would never try to drag race a truck or anything with the granny low 4-speed in it.
That's why no one will remember your name.
Actually, the main reason I'm doing this is just kind of catch you up to speed if you're not familiar with what we've done here. This truck originally was just a 305 4-speed, no fun truck. And on social media, I got tired of it, and this has been about 4 or 5 years ago. On social media, I kept seeing these comments of people, is there anything I could do to make my 305 truck or 4-speed truck any more fun? And usually the comments are, get rid of that, put an automatic in it, or put a 350 in it, whatever. So I decided to use my platform and old Squeaky here to prove to everybody that whatever you've got, you can have fun with it. I'm not going to go over too much about the engine. It's a 339 stroker made out of the 305. We had a lot of fun when it was just a 305, put some nitrous to it. Yada yada yada. I got plenty of videos on all that if you want to go catch up on that. But before we get into that, always hit that subscribe button. If you're not already subscribed, hit the like button. There's a bell notification or a bell button you can hit to get notification when I put out new videos. Go check all those out. Also go check out my merchandise website, squarebodystuff.shop. We've got shirts, hats. I've got some of these patches like this. I've got keychains, stickers. That's about it. Anyways, go check that out, squarebodystuff.shop, and pick you out something. And from now until Valentine's Day 2024, you can get 10% off your order with the code C10LOVE. And all stickers are free shipping, and any order over $50 is also free shipping. But before we get to that transmission, I've got a package here from a fan. It's pretty cool for me. I see, big YouTube channels, they got fan mail and all that stuff, and I like the unboxing videos, opening videos of people getting fan mail. This is from Harper Dalton. He's been a fan since the beginning. He's, I guess you call one of my OG Squarebody Stuff viewers. Might need to sharpen my knife. Good, great. All right, he sent me some stickers. Busted Nuts Garage. Awesome mechanics gloves. Those will come in handy. They're even the right size. Holy crap, look at this. King of Crunch. I love these things. I've got a pretty good collection already started. I really need to redo my whole corner over there around the toolboxes, and so I can hang more of these up, because I collect these things. That's cool. That's barefoot. Sweet. We got the K5 Blazer. Wow. This is one of the this is a USA 1 square body. Check that out. A red and white K5. And a USA 1 license plate. That'll be hanging up on the wall. Huh. It gives me an idea. Maybe I need to make some Squarebody Stuff license plates. What do you think? I think I got a couple more packages headed this way in the mail from fans. We'll open those on another video. If you want to send me anything, go to P.O. Box 213, Cabool, Missouri 65689. And that is also down in the description box below if you can't remember what I said. So back to the transmission. I've got a spare two-wheel drive 465. I've got another one or two four-wheel drive versions of it, which the only real difference is the main shaft and the output shaft housing or cover. The four-wheel drives don't have the cover actually bolted to the transmission. But anyways, I've got this one. I'm going to do some work on the top cover, which actually houses the shift forks and all that stuff. I'm thinking I could do some stuff to make it shift a little smoother. And any of you that have ever drove one of these big transmissions knows they're not the smoothest shifting. But I got some ideas rolling around in my old gourd, and I'm going to try to figure something out. A good buddy of mine, Ryan Wing from Streetcar Chronicles YouTube channel, he came up to visit me from Texas here, it was 3 months ago. He brought me a couple 305s. Yeah, we'll not get into that. And also he brought me this SM465 4-speed. And I believe it was actually donated by Dave Elmore, or we call him Damn It Dave. He sent it up with Ryan because he wanted to give it to me. He didn't have a use for it. He wanted to see if I could do anything with it. And Dave also has a YouTube channel called Elmo's Performance, so go check that out. Now there's already been a couple modifications I've done to this shifter to help it shift better, feel better. And I've got a video on what I've done to it. Go check that out. I think it's called SM465 sloppy shifter or something like that. The rod that goes down in there, and I'll kind of show you on the other one, it gets sloppy. There's a roll pin and nylon bushings that wear out, and I just weld them up solid so they don't slop around quite as much. Depends on what gear you have it in. It's still got to have a little bit of a slack in it, you know, so it don't bind up or anything, but this is considerably better than what they usually are. The other thing I did with this shifter, because with my seat placement and everything and my short arms maybe, the way the shifter was bent, I couldn't reach third. I think if I remember right, they're about up here in third gear. So I heated up the shifter, bent this first bend down and this up and this one over. I can't remember exactly how I done it. I'd have to have the factory shifter back in here to remember, but now this is second gear, there's third, and there's fourth. So I had to put the factory shifter back in here just to kind of give a little demonstration of the difference. Yeah, see, when I'm strapped in, I can't reach that. I can't put it in third gear. But this shifter's also been welded, so it's probably fairly tight too. I actually need to make a backup shifter, I guess, out of this and try to get it bent the same, or maybe bend a little different, see if I can find a different combination. But now this transmission came out of, I think it was a 68, 69, something like that, and they had a little different shifter design. It'd be kind of hard to see. They're angled a little bit different. I'll get this one pulled out and put it on the workbench. Now to get these shifters out of these things, it's actually very simple. It's not complicated. Dave Elmore. All you gotta do is, bam, that's it. You got the roll pins on either side. Make sure it's down in the deal. You've got the spring, you got the cup, you got the retainer. And this retainer is not in the best of shape, but it still works pretty good. Push down, twist, and it locks it in those ears. That's all there is to it. Now here's the three shifters all together. This is the stock Squarebody. This would be the stock, I guess 68, whatever year it is. And this is the modified one. And here shows you the welding I've done on this up here, down here, to get this nice and solid and not flopping around like this guy. And you notice the difference in the bends. And this one, to get the deals lined up, this shifter has a whole different angle to it. It's not too far off from the one I've modified. I just have to shorten it quite a bit. Another modification I've done is, you can tell these two have had a little work done on the end. They should be flat right here, but I built them up a little bit of weld to take a little bit more of the slack out of them. That's kind of the few first basic modifications you can do to one of these transmissions to get the shifter feel better. But now let's get this top off this thing and see what we can do inside there. Now, getting the tops off these things can be a little bit tricky. You gotta take the shifter out and take a screwdriver or something down in there and get it in half reverse. Move the reversed shift fork, which will be the one on the driver's side or the left side of the transmission, down in there. I'll show you that in just a second. Move that about halfway. If you go all the way, it won't come out. If you don't put it in, it won't come out. You can fight it and fight it, fight it. Never pry on these things. Never get anything in there to, force it out, because you don't have to. If everything's lined up, it will slide out, but it can be tricky. So just be patient, take your time, don't get frustrated. Okay, now if you look down in there, you can see the slot where the shifter goes into. On the right hand side, you've got that nub sticking out. That's a spring loaded deal. That's your reverse fork or your reverse slide, whatever you want to call it. You got to get that about halfway forward. Hopefully you can see how much I've moved it there. Pushed it forward just a little bit, where it's kind of the center of it is lined up with the front edge of the slide next to it. And if everything's lined up right, this cover should come off. So you have to get it up, get it broke loose if yours isn't broke loose yet. Like I said, don't pry on this, but if you get it lined up right, you kind of tilt it like that, and this comes right out. Now going back in can be a little bit trickier, but again, don't force it, don't push it. You have to have that reverse gear lined up. Get all your other stuff lined up, and it should slide right back in. Bam. Trust me, it can be aggravating if you don't have that lined up just right. I'm going to show you why we have to have the reverse about halfway engaged. This down here is your reverse gear. This is where the shift fork engages on that gear, and this gear just slides back and forth. This direction to the back is neutral. Forward is reverse. So whenever you pull your shifter back to put it in reverse, it slides this gear forward. And to get the top off, you get this gear in the way, that gear in the way. And if you get it just right there in the middle, you've got clearance to get it out. Alright, let's have a quick anatomy lesson on what we got going on here. These are your shift forks. This is your reverse, low and second, third and fourth. We've got your shift rails, which your forks pin into, and the rails themselves slide in and out of these bosses on the housing. That would be fourth, that would be third, and inside here through those holes down inside there is spring-loaded check balls. That's what kind of keeps them where they're supposed to go. We're going to knock these plugs out, knock the roll pins out, and we get these shift forks out and see what we got going on. Slide that forward. And hopefully, maybe we'll be able to knock that plug out. It's moving. I'm going to move this operation. Alright, now that I got a little more secure, I got just enough room behind this shaft to push that plug out. And that should be reusable. Now remember, we've got some detent balls, check balls that might pop out. Right. There's our 1, 2. So you can see that ball right there. It's got a spring behind it. There's the ball. Boom. And that detent ball goes down those little notches. We might see if there's something we could do with those to make it a little bit smoother, engaging, because yeah, kind of notchy. And this groove on the other end is there's a check ball or a pill in between these two shift rails. And it's a safety, it's an interlock or safety lockout. So if this shift rail is back, it won't let this one move anywhere. So it's a safety lock. We'll kind of get to see more of that once I get this apart. These guys I just went ahead and knocked out with that bar. They're pretty heavy duty, they're pretty thick stuff, so you don't, as long as you're not beating on them too hard, they come out without getting too distorted. Now these may be rusted in or seized in depending on the condition of your transmission, but if everything's good, they should come out and be reusable. Now I'm going to show you what's going on with these interlocks on these shift rails. The reverse one, which would be this one, has a notch on both sides. This notch over here is for the reverse lights. Whenever this shift rail moves this way to go into reverse, it pushes that plunger in, makes a connection, your reverse lights come on. Alright, in the 3/4 shift rail, we've got this, I call it a pill. It slides in there. These balls are in the holes that's in the case. And while it's in neutral, these should be all lined up. And it's got just enough room where this pill could be centered in there. These balls will be okay. But as soon as you shift reverse forward, it'll push these balls sideways, push tension against these two balls, and lock it into this shaft. So what that does is when you're in reverse, it locks these two shafts where it can't move out. I think low gear would be this way. It doesn't really matter which way you move it. Same thing happens. It'll push that over, just move all those balls over, lock reverse. And a tech tip, when you're working on stuff like this, it's got the small parts, especially these little bearings, the rollers, springs. Find you something to put them in. Just setting them out on your bench or on the ground, wherever, is not a good idea. I didn't really intend for this to be a how-to or anything like that video, just me playing around trying something different. But fair while we're here, we'll just educate you a little bit. This is your reverse one, and it's got this spring-loaded deal here that whenever you push your shifter lever over to get it in reverse, you can feel that spring tension, and that's what that is. This shift fork is the 3/4 shift fork. It looks to be in pretty good shape. And even the plastic looks pretty good on these. They dip the ends of these in the plastic. Really hard stuff, I guess. But these what runs inside your sliders and moves the slider and everything into one gear or the other. It goes into these, slides it forward or back for neutral, and that would be third. But these are always, you know, spinning, so it's got to have those plastic deals in there to protect them, because it'll chew these up or chew the forks up if the plastic gets ruined. Alright, this is our low and first. It's got a little bit of wear here, but overall looks pretty good. Plastic looks okay. It's bubbling up a little bit. Because if you look up on YouTube or the Googles, you don't find much on modifying an SM465 transmission. Now, they have been modified internally a lot for like truck pulls. But truck pulling, you don't shift gears. It's just put it in a gear and go. But as far as shifting them, making them shift better, I have seen, I think there's one video I ran across where a guy's trying to make a remote mount shifter. And what that means is he's got some linkages and everything else, and the shifter moves the shifter close to him and has some heim joints, I guess, and brackets to move the shifter. And with that, you can change the geometry of the shifter and make it a shorter throw. To my knowledge, he never finished that video, and it's fairly old. And that is something I've contemplated doing, but with that, that's just more moving parts to wear out, bind up, or cause issues. So I'm going to try to go with the KISS method and keep it simple, stupid, and figure out what we can do with what we have, because that's pretty much the basis of this truck for the most part. We put a lot of extra stuff in the drivetrain, or the engine at least, but the rest of it is just kind of making do with what I have. And that's what we're going to do with this transmission. Just make the best of what old Muncie sent us and figure something out. Or trash it. I don't know. It may not work. So to make things easier while I'm trying to do some modifications over here, I'll show you that in a minute. I went ahead and pulled this one out since it's not welded up. This is what you got inside of here that gets all worn out. These grooves here are supposed to have some nylon bushings. You can see what's left of that one. And that roll pin, it actually sets in this one. There's supposed to be a little extra room in this hole for it to kind of move a little bit and give a little bit. It's supposed to make it a little more comfortable. Supposed to make it a little more comfortable as far as driving experience. You don't have as much vibration transferring up through your shifter. But once those nylon bushings wear out, it's just sloppy and floppy, and yeah. So I'm gonna take this out so I can mess around with this with what I got going over here. My idea is to make this as much of a smooth transition as I possibly can. As you can see, these things are really squared off. So whenever you go to shift, hopefully I can do this without making a mess. Let's see, this would be second gear, which is what I launch in, or what I take off in. So it's got to go down, line pretty much perfectly up, then come over and push that one back to go into third. That's pretty notchy stuff going on there. I'm going to see what I could do to maybe modify this and the end of the shifter that's come out of squeaky. This one I'm just going to use as kind of an get me close. Then I'll make it all work. But I'm just going to kind of try to set the camera up. That way you can kind of see me whittling on stuff, but I hadn't. This is just live stream brainstorming on my part. I'm just going to start whittling away, playing around with it, see what I come up with. Hopefully I don't ruin them. They're not super expensive, but I don't want to make them not usable. So I'm going to play around with these and see what we come up with. Because race truck. Well, let's see what I've got going on work so far, as far as if I'm in second gear and then move the shifter over to the middle rail and just push it forward, if it will shift into out of second into third simultaneously without any binding, just by hand. Now I'll still have to modify the place where the shifter knob or ball goes into, but I want to make sure this all works before I modify that part. So let's see what happens. Let me put this thing in second gear. All right, there's second gear. Now I'm going to use the shifter out of squeaky, because that's the shifter I'm going to be using, and I'm going to get it in there. Now I don't have the reverse shift fork in there, so I'm going to have to kind of feel. All right, there's the third and fourth shift rail. It won't go into the first and second shift rail because it's in second right now, which would be down towards me and down. So here I am driving the truck, and I'm going to push this forward to shift into third under power. I'm going to spin the input, and it's in third gear now. It just shifted smooth. I didn't have to go over and up. I didn't have to do anything with the shifter. I just have to push it forward. All right, it has been several hours of just messing around with this, doing a little grinding, using some die chem, layout fluid, and making sure everything's going to work out. And I think it's going to work. I've got this just kind of set up so I can show you kind of what I got going on. Now the end of this is not the same shape or profile as the shifter that I'm going to be using. I'll show you that in here in just a little bit, but I'll give you kind of an idea what I got going on here. All right, so this will be neutral. If I go over and up, that is second gear. That's what I usually start out in. Now I've got the shifter, the other knob, or the other ball end set up to where it'll actually slide over here and go into this notch, while this first fork is in second gear. And then when I shift into third, it pulls this one back into neutral, and this is in third, so it automatically goes back. So I can actually not even worry about going up and over with my shifter, I can start out right there at the track. Now it does work. Normally I've set this up on the transmission. I have had this together and apart about 1,000,000 times. Make sure it all works. I know it don't look like it probably works very good right here, but it does work on the transmission, at least the transmission on the stand. So yeah, that's the idea, and it works normally. It will still go into granny low. It will go into all the gears as a normal H pattern. Now here's the difference in the end of this is the factory one. That's exactly how they come from the factory. And this is the profile of the one I'm going to be using. I built it up and profiled it down to where it's going to shift nice and smooth and do exactly what I want it to do, I hope. We'll have to see whenever I get in the truck, and hopefully it works the way it's doing on the stand, because it's going to be awesome. So as you can tell, it's daylight now. I've been up all night. Check this out. That's pretty much where Tex has been all night long. I started a fire in the stove to kind of knock the chill off in the shop tonight. And that's where he's been all night. He hasn't really moved a bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this all cleaned up, run it through the parts washer again, get it assembled, or at least the top cover assembled, get it ready to put in the truck, and we'll take the top cover off the transmission that's in the truck, put this one on, and take him for a test drive. So if you remember, I eliminated this lockout pin that goes into the middle 3/4 shift shaft. Now it doesn't have all the safety features it's supposed to have, but if this shift shaft is in 3rd or 4th, it cannot go in reverse. Now if it's in 1 or 2, it can still go in reverse, but it's not possible or not likely it's ever going to happen, because yeah, the shifter is on the other side, so it's not likely it's going to happen. So I think we'll be all right. Hopefully we don't grenade this thing. But anyways, let's get this thing in the truck. All right, I've got everything back together. Let's try this thing out. I've got high hopes, but I'm also ready for a big letdown. Let's just see how it acts. I don't know. I don't. Works good on the stand, but sometimes that doesn't mean anything. All right, so there's. I mean, it seems to work okay. Other than, yeah, it seems like it wants to maybe stick in between gears. It'll be really particular, I guess. Alright, let's see what happens. really touchy with in between gears. Let's start out second. So our transmission modifications for we'll just say it's an epic fail. But, you know, I tried. I'm not saying I'm not going to try something else. I may have to, you know, maybe back off a little bit on the modification. The deal is it's just, there's just no control. It worked good on the stand. It felt good on the stand. I was very optimistic that it was going to work, but real life testing, yeah, no bueno. It's drivable, but man, it's just too easy to money shift it. Yeah, it just kind of flops around. So, and there may be some of you out there that's going to go in the comments and say, "Oh, I could have seen that coming." Well, that's fine. I had that in my mind. There are the possibilities, but you never know until you try. And sometimes when you try, you fail. But when you fail, you know, what defines the character of a man is when he fails. What does he do when he fails? That's my phone. You know, I try lots of stuff. Sometimes things don't work out great. And, you know, we just try something different, keep on going. That's hot rodding. That is life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this top that was on this transmission back on it, put it back together, and kind of regroup, rethink what I've done, and yeah, we'll try something maybe a little bit different on down the road. I got plenty of stuff coming up, so hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell down below. That way you get notifications whenever I put out new videos. Hit the like, give me a thumbs up, give me a comment. Let me know what you think, or if you want to tell me how much of an idiot I am for doing what I did to this transmission tower. It is what it is. We live and we learn. Until next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling. We'll catch you later.